this is a great time to prove a lot of things for SKT. Are they as dominant as people think they are?
I just want to go out on a limb for this series and say that I think that
them going 0-2 to CVB and losing to Team Liquid is not what I want to see. Hello, out there in podcast land. It's another edition of the Six Dorans podcast. I am your host, Jacob, has a different background, Sanders, and I am joined by Jamie, has a messy basement, Christensen.
You are correct.
And Tanner still has a blank wall, Brelje.
Damn proud of it, too. All right.
How are we doing tonight, guys?
Doing well, a little tired, not going to lie. Ready for the end of the week.
Well, if you're a little tired, we can definitely get this stuff rolling. So we're going to be talking about, obviously, the group stage of MSI this week, and we're going to be talking about patch notes. Overall, I am pretty happy with how MSI has gone so far. How about you guys?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's been really good watching so far. I think there have been a fair share of surprises. I think overall it's been kind of evened out into what we expected. But going into our final four, I don't think it's as easy to predict as it was maybe as we thought it was going to be a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I think that there's been some high level play. We've got to see some interesting picks. We've gotten to see some upsets. We've gotten to see, like Tanner said, some of what we've expected and some of what we haven't. And just overall, it's been a really good 5 days of League of Legends. That's the only problem that I have, is that it's been 5 days of League of Legends in a time zone that I'm not awake during, which I find that I'm really bad lately about watching VODs of stuff if I can't watch it live. But what have you thought about it, Sanders?
I've really enjoyed it so far. I've been very entertained by the MSI this year. I think it's been a lot of fun. And maybe it was nice to not be disappointed as an NA fan.
Yeah, I hear that.
For sure. For sure.
They made it to groups. I mean, they made it to groups at 4 and 6, but
they made it out of groups.
Yeah, they made it.
Making it out is making it out, man. No tiebreaker, no stress. They're in. Now they can just get creamed by IG, but it's all right because it's
Yeah, they did what they were supposed to do. They had to beat G2, and they beat G2. Like, it's fine by me.
The great thing is that because they made it, they also got our not having to play into Worlds back.
Oh,
that's a good point. I think.
No, they talked about it on Diveforia, so I trust what they had to say.
That's kind of nice.
That's very nice.
So our number 3 seed is automatically in. Cool. Yeah. Congratulations, Cloud9. You're automatically in.
They might not be the 3 seed. They might be the 2 seed.
Cloud9, TSM, whichever. Doesn't matter. We probably know who's going to be our top. We probably know who our top 3 is. Anyways, but before we get more into MSI, let's cover some patch notes real quickly. These patch notes are relatively short, so they shouldn't take that long. So the first meeting on our agenda is there's a new champion. Name is Yumi. It's a cat. Flies on a book. As usual, go check out the kit yourself.
Apparently, it's a support.
Yeah, go look at the abilities yourself. Apparently, it's useless because they made a massive mid-patch change that gave it a ton of buffs, and a lot of people complained that Yumi was useless.
And I think it still has a sub 30% win rate.
Yeah. So,
however, there have been plenty of champs that have started out at a sub 30 win% rate. That was a very jumbled mess of words, but I think everybody got the gist. That have ultimately been learned how to be played and get much better after some time. Plus, Riot typically, when new champions are struggling, like you said, give them buffs, and then they're strong just because of the numbers.
Yeah, I remember when Bard originally came out. I loved playing Bard, and Bard was shit on release. So I think they'll do them right. And there's a lot. Do we want to cover all these notes for Yumi? Because
no.
Basically, major increases in a lot of their different stat categories. But I haven't played enough Yumi to know what would matter. Have any of you guys played enough of her?
I haven't played any of her yet. But usually what I say, because she just came out today, but usually what I say for what we say for new champions is go look at the gameplay yourself, go look at the abilities yourself, go see if it's a champion you want to play, and we'll do the same thing, and we'll talk about it next week.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. So it's so stupid to like judge a champion, like look at its kit and be like, oh, that's good or that's bad, right? I'm assuming the champion is bad because like when I looked at the kit, I'm like, okay, there's no CC. Okay, there's really no wave clear. And I'm like, unless its stats are outstanding, this champion looks like it would be garbage. And if the stats are outstanding, that means it's broken because its stats are outstanding. So I was like, this looks like another poorly designed champion by Riot. Moving on. But we'll see what happens. Right? So.
Who's on the docket then?
It's Brand. He got buffed. His E was increased. It used to be 70 to 150. Is now 70 to 170, and the ability power is up from 0.35 to 0.45. That's pretty significant for wave clear, I'd have to say.
Haven't seen him much, so glad to see that. Like I've said in the past, if somebody's not getting played, I like to see them give them some minor buffs, see if maybe that's enough to get them back into people's hands. But do you think that this sounds more like a solo lane change, like mid lane, more than a support change?
I mean, maybe. Like obviously they do say in the patch itself that mid lane Brand is a bit of a focus here, but I mean I think the fact that they did nerf him quite a bit. Or to kind of push him out of bottom lane, and I think they succeeded in that. I haven't seen a Brand in the bottom lane in quite some time. I mean, you do occasionally in like lower elo, but I mean, you'll see anything in a lower elo. So for Brand, I think it's fine to kind of edge him back in because I think he's a fun champion, and I think mid lane is the place for him. Other than he shouldn't be wrecking shit in bottom lane. I don't think, but I think pushing him towards the mid lane is definitely the right call.
I think he might naturally just be a champion people like in the support role.
No, that's fair.
You think Albus knocks Luna for that one?
I mean, he's very much in the category of Lux, where it's like...
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, where it's like, it's a champion that you definitely could play as a support. Nobody will flame you for it, and you can take all the kills you want, and nobody will flame you for it. So
You're wrong. You're wrong about one thing. People will flame you for it.
That's fair. I guess it depends on the elo, but, we'll... I mean, actually, probably not. You'll probably still get flamed. But regardless.
All right, so the next one is Caitlyn. They're just buffing the headshot damage on her W, which is hilarious because they nerfed this a while ago. So they're just reverting the damage on it.
Very nice.
It used to be 40 to 240. It's now 60 to 240. Whatever.
Okay, so it's all early, too.
Yeah, but it's only if you get hit by the trap. And it's just like, okay, whatever. That's fine. They're reverting a nerf. It's fine.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. So for Fiora's W, she now blocks stuns that like are supposed to be procced by a passive stack. So her W now blocks like Brahms and like things like cannons and things like that. So
it's very specific.
I mean, I would almost call the fact that it didn't do this in the past as a bug. I mean, I know it's not a bug, but it was just like I would be upset if I was playing Fiora and that didn't work like that. So I'm glad it does.
Yeah. So like what it would be, I mean, I guess it kind of isn't a bug. It's kind of the way it was designed. Like her W probably was coded to like.
No, I totally agree. I don't think it's a bug. I think, but the fact that it didn't work like that in the past, I would think it would be a bug, and then I'd look it up and it'd be like, oh, that's stupid. Why is it like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like probably how it was coded was just block anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you block anything, if you have 3 stacks on you, the 4th stack wouldn't be added. Because, like, nothing technically hit you. But if nothing technically hits you, then the 4th stack can just be added right after. Right? So, that was their goal here. To where if she W's Brahms' 4th stack or Kennan's, I think it's his 3rd stack, you won't get stumped. That's fair, I think. That's what her W was for.
Correct. Yep. I'm with you guys.
Cool. So Graves, I think it's surprising that Graves is feeling underwhelming because I played him lately and I've been wrecking solo queue with him. So I don't understand that he's been overwhelming because I have the opposite experience. I'm wrecking face with Graves. I mean, I really like Graves, and I feel like I am decent at Graves. There's that.
Graves' average win rate is 47%. Just an FYI.
Oh, I didn't even know. I know mine is above 50. So, anyways, apparently he's not good. Apparently, so they're giving more power to his Q. I mean, and it's late game too. So like, it used to be 85 to 205. It's now 85 to 225. I'm happy with this. I'm not complaining here. I was already fine with him.
Isn't Q your first ability max too?
Yeah, it's your first ability. It's the only ability max because like your Q is your only damage ability. Everything else about your kit is basically auto attacking.
It's good utility, but yeah.
Or auto attack resetting. So like for example, in the middle, like right as you fire off your auto attack, you can E and you'll immediately get an auto attack reset. So you can get off like 2 auto attacks within like the amount of time that it takes a person to get 1 auto attack off if you do it correctly. And your W also works as an auto attack reset as well, but you have to do your W. If you want to do the W reset, you have to be able to reset your auto attack after the first bullet. Because if you do your reset after the second bullet, you have to reload, and then the W reset won't go off. So you actually have to strategically think about when you want to do your sidestep reset, the E, the dash reset, and if you want to be able to do a W reset after. You actually have to consciously make those decisions, and you just learn that by playing the champion. So I've learned like when I'm ganking a lane, you can gank a lane in 2 ways. You can either say I have red buff, they're pushed far enough, I don't need to use W to slow him, and if you decide that, then you tell yourself, all right, I'm just going to walk into him, auto attack him for the slow. But as soon as I auto attack, you immediately step charge your E, so you have 2 more shots. Put off the shot, you have 1 shot left. You W to get the auto attack reset, and you do like 3 auto attacks in the time that 1.5 auto attacks would be for a normal champion. And that's why he does so much burst damage. And then you still have your Q and your ultimate if your laner doesn't kill them, or you still need to kill them or whatever. So, yeah. If you play Graves properly, you can actually dish out a ton. But it takes a lot of practice and a lot of ganks and a lot of just, oh, this is how it works kind of deal. Like, I'm explaining it to you right now. It's a lot more complicated than how I'm explaining it to you. Auto attack resets are a bitch. Whenever I see, like, I've mastered auto attack resets, I feel, with Graves. I know how to do them. When I see auto attack resets with other champions, I look at that and I'm like, I am not that good at that. My auto attack resets, I still reset the auto attack, but it's slower than what some pro players do. And I'm just like, I don't know how they do that. Like Riven, I don't understand Riven reset. I don't get it. Every time I've ever tried to play Riven, I'm like, I don't get this. Like, this is not for me. but Graves is for me. And like Wayne always complains, oh, I don't understand Graves. I'm like, just learn his auto attack reset mode. Learn his auto attack resets by just farming the jungle, and you'll learn. And he's not hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you said everything. You're also the most experienced Graves player, so.
Sorry, I went on a long rant. I love this champion. He's one of my favorites.
No need to apologize.
I liked him before his rework, and I liked him post rework. Like rework, he was a lot of fun. Just fucking fired bullet after bullet after bullet. That was fun. Old Graves was fun too.
You mean before they changed it to the like 2-shot?
Yeah, when he used to be like a buckshot
carry.
Well, like it was like buckshot was what he shot at you. Like the key was just an AoE buckshot, and he was supposed to be like a wave clear to carry.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Tanner?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that Q sucked. That was a terrible Q. And then you can reset the Q to anyway. Moving on, Master. I can make an entire video about how to play Graves correctly because I've done it so much. Most glorious moment I ever had playing Graves, ulting into a Baron pit and stealing it. Glorious.
Always a good feeling.
I died for it, but
Worth.
my other 4 team members had it, so worth. I mean, just denying a Baron from the enemy team is worth in the first place, but...
Sure.
Alright, so for Master Yi, so the cast time on his Q, which has like a slight delay before he starts the Alpha Strike, that's been removed. Now, what it is if Master Yi has struck fewer than the max amount of times you can with Alpha Strike, and there are no other eligible targets, he will strike one of the same targets for 25% of the damage before checking for nearby targets again. So in other words, I feel like this slightly helps his jungling, but it also helps where, like, if you queue, I don't know, let's say a minion to get to someone else, get closer to someone else, that means you hit that opponent more than once and you do more damage to them. That's kind of cool. The cast time on his W was removed. It was 0.05 seconds. I feel like that's not any time in the first place. I never noticed it. And then his Ouija style no longer grants 10% attack damage when it's not on cooldown. So in other words, you don't get bonus damage with him unless it's activated. And then his Highlander used to give total movement speed for the boost. It used to be 25 to 45% total movement speed. It's now 35 to 55% bonus movement speed. I think this is probably to so he can't buy like tank boots. If you really want to dash at people, you gotta buy like Mobies or some shit like that.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
And didn't they just change his R in one of the last patches, which made it so like he can move through minions and stuff too? So like this is a little bit another way to make it so they could balance that change a little bit to where he's not like you can't get away from him.
I thought you could move through minions for a while. I'm not sure when that...
He's still... No, he can move through minions now.
Okay.
That was like last patch, right? Or 2 patches ago, one of those
two.
I mean, it's because like his ultimate is really his only way to gank, right? Like he just runs you, and he has like no CC and no slow resist, right? Like that's his thing. He can't be stopped.
That's another thing, though, Tanner. That like you're like you feel like it should have been the case for a really long time.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
And then you go and look, and you're like, oh, huh.
It wasn't like that. Yeah, I guess that.
No wonder I got a minion blocked when I had my R active.
Yeah, but creep blocking was a thing and pretty frustrating. So next one is Riven. What the fuck? They're buffing her.
The aforementioned Riven.
Wait, they're actually buffing her. Wait, what? Wait, what? Okay, so they're buffing her Q. Used to be a cooldown 13 seconds at all ranks. It's now 12, 11.
Such a good change.
She might be able to Q more, but she might be able to deal more damage. But the OP part of her wasn't her damage dealing; it was her shielding.
Right, her being able to and constantly being able to use those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
especially the E to be able to dive under towers, and then to just pretty much negate a shot from the tower by using her E to get that shield. So,
Tanner, what do you think? I'm pretty sure this is a...
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I don't actually have too many issues with Riven as is, but at its current time, I think, I've heard the complaints, I've heard the people on Reddit. This is definitely a champion where I know a lot of people have had some issues with it. So, just a small little nerf like this, I think, is fine. It's probably going to be met with a lot of sarcasm if I had to bet. It is, one of those things where, it seems like the more, like the less they do about a situation, the more sarcasm they get from the majority of the group, especially like a lot of the lower tier players. But I think this is a good step. Because I think the last thing you want to do is completely cut the legs off of Riven. And that's not what they're doing here. So, yeah, it's fine.
I think you'd piss off a lot of people if you just got rid of Riven, right?
Yeah, there's a balance to be struck here.
Well, like some champions like Shaco, who is ironically up next, like Shaco you can get rid of, right? Champions like I don't know who else did they like completely like in your oh Volibear. Volibear doesn't exist. Trying to think of champions that like I forgot are in the game.
It's gonna be hard if you forgot.
Poppy. Poppy doesn't really exist anymore. Like you can get rid of those champions because they never had like a fantastic player base in the first place, right? Someone like Yasuo, someone like Riven, someone like Master Yi, someone like Darius, someone like Ari. I don't know who else is super popular. Ezreal. If you got rid of any of those champions and made them unplayable, you wouldn't hear the end of it ever. So, I mean, even when Aurelia kind of became unplayable, like you never heard the end of it. It was always the better nerf Aurelia meme.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, anyways, the next one is Shaco. So, they're just changing like how his ultimate works. So, for his ultimate,
I already don't know how his ultimate works. So
what it is you just pressed it and a clone showed up, but it was kind of random where it did show up. You could just control it after it showed up. Now it's gonna show up in like the direction of like your cursor, and okay. I think that's what it should be. It makes more sense. So you can like kind of control like how it's going to show up, and maybe you could play a little mind games with that. I'm not totally sure. I'm not a Shaco main. Don't ask me. I've played this champion maybe 5 or 6 times, which is weird because every time I have played him in the jungle, I've always had success. I feel like he's super cheesy. Like I could just like walk to an area that's not going to be warded, and then I can queue because it's a flash, basically to something else. And because I'm disappeared for like 4 or 5 seconds, you can't see me, so it's really easy to like queue from a place that you know is not going to be warded, walk over to where you need to go, and then by the time you're revealed, you're where you need to be for the gank. And he's a really easy champion to pull off in the lower elo. I don't know why I don't actually play him. I feel like I'd win a lot of games if I did, but he's not fun to me. Like every time I play him, yeah, it's like I'm 5-0, but like it's not fun. It's like, oh, I press Q, they don't know I'm here. Oh, backstab, haha, one shot, you're dead. That's not fun to me. Like, what's more fun to me is being a werewolf that has 600 movement speed and you can't get away from me. And I'm like, you can't run away, die, you're dead. And then if you do somehow get away, I have a blood sense. And my blood sense tells me that you're still on the map, even if I can't see you. And I can just run towards my blood sense, and then I kill you anyway. That's more fun to me. I don't know.
I mean, it's preference. Not everybody's going to like the Shaco play style.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
you.
So. I mean, one-shotting people is fun. But like, I feel like Shaco's is like cheating. You just show up and they die. Whereas like one-shotting with Graves is fun because you see him coming and you can avoid it, but if you don't, you die. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Tanner, you got anything?
I hate Shaco. But other than that, that's about it.
He's too linear for me. He needs to be updated.
I don't feel like this change will alter Shaco very much.
Oh no, not at all.
No.
Like this is very, very minor.
This is a quality of life change. That's all this is.
Yeah.
All right. So Soraka. So they give her all these buffs, right? And then they're giving her more buffs. So the amount of bonus movement speed that she gets for her Mercue was 14 to 30. It's now 15 to 35. Okay. I got nothing on this.
Is that the only thing?
Yeah.
Movement speed decay went from rapidly to significantly less rapidly.
That's nice. I mean,
nice description.
That's about it. I don't know.
I just think that's a funny way of wording it.
That is.
That right there is what Nintendo's patch notes look like for Super Smash Brothers for every
that's a good
character.
Point.
Yeah, you mentioned that one.
Altered by an amount. You can guess, but
yeah.
A small amount.
We increased the data frames. Okay, what does that mean? Or the frame data, I'm sorry.
Oh, what did they do to Tryndamere? Did they make him stronger?
So they lowered the cooldown on his E, but the AP ability power on it is down. So they made him be able to like run at you more.
That's fine.
All right.
Yeah. This is another champion that needs some love too. Vayne. So she used to have cooldown reduction, like if you killed people. It was 60% at all ranks. It's now 30 to 50. I think this is appropriate for a champion that I don't think needs to be straight up nerfed, but it definitely needs to have an answer for pro play.
That's fair. It's something that they touch on right here in the actual patch itself this is really well said. Similarly to Riven, we want to work on targeting the frustration around playing against Vayne just beyond her raw stats. I think that's an excellent way to approach this because, like, again, if you cut off champions like, Vayne and Riven at the legs, like, you're gonna lose some of your player base because, like, there's people who just play Vayne, who just play Riven.
Remember when Vayne was not existent for a couple years from like season 5 to 7?
Yeah.
She just did not exist. Anyways,
strictly because of her range, right?
Not only that, but her true damage was nerfed. Her tumble damage was nerfed as well. It wasn't until that they increased the amount of true damage that she does that she was played again. They had to increase the amount of true damage she deals.
Gotcha.
It used to be like, I think, up to 10% of your maximum health, and now it's at 14. That's
Tanner, you hate Shaco. I hate Vayne.
That's fair.
You're a tank player.
As someone who plays Garen, I fucking hate Vayne.
Of course you hate.
Oh well, yeah, that would definitely, yeah.
Not only tank player, but also an immobile tank player. So if I do get close to her, she just condemns me, and then I'm really fucked.
Yeah, all tank players hate Vayne. It's just how it is. So. Next one is Xing Zhao. So the cooldown on his Q is reduced. I like this a lot as someone who likes to play Xing Zhao. This won't do like that much for him, but it'll certainly help him be able to 1v1 in the jungle, I think.
That's good.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think he was really strong. They nerfed him a little bit, and so I'm glad to see that they're doing something minor to see if it'll again be enough to bring him back.
They nerfed his jungle clear because they said he had too much attack speed, to which I was like, there's never enough attack speed on Xing Zhao, but that's my opinion. It's never enough. The last thing is Zyra. If you notice, whenever Zyra's in the patch notes, it's never a nerf or a buff. It's a fucking bug fix every goddamn time. So
you'd think that you'd see more of that with Mordekaiser since he has like 150 bugs, but you don't ever see him in the patch notes.
It's just about her bugs and her plans. If you want to read it, anyway. SS Reaver is getting some love. It's going from 65 to 70 attack damage. That's cool. Ginsu's Rage Blade. The Phantom hit, which is what makes Vayne really strong. Where you get like every 2 auto attacks, you get another auto attack. They change it from every 2 attacks to every 3 attacks. This inadvertently nerfs Jax and Vayne and Master Yi and Xing Zhao if you built it on Xing Zhao. The armor penetration, however, is going up on it. It used to be 6 to 15% max. It's now just 15% flat armor penetration, and the magic penetration is now 15% flat magic penetration. So overall, I think the item is kind of balanced out here in the fact that it does more raw damage, but to get the OP damage, you need more auto attacks. I think that's a fair trade-off.
Right.
It does overall nerf the item itself, but this makes it still playable to have
I think in the grand scheme of the game, it definitely makes the item worse. I think earlier now, though, it's going to feel a lot better to have right away because of just the flat increase on that armor pen and magic pen, which is nice because I know for me, when I have to buy Ginsu's, I don't think about, man, here we go. I'm about to fuck some shit up. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck some shit up later. Right now, I'm just building to that. So I think that's a fair trade-off.
Okay, let me tell you something. After seeing this, I really want to try Elise in your jungle again. For Hunter's Talisman, if you don't know, for any auto attack or ability, there's a passive burn on the minions, and if you have any minion at 50 or less health, You can just walk away from it and it'll burn by itself. That's not true. For smaller minions, that's not true. I think it's 20-something health. I forget the exact number. But for like Scuttle Crab, Wolves, Gromp, things like that, if it has 50 health or less, you can walk away from it and it'll die. Because of the passive burn from Hunter's Talisman. The pets that you summon from like Elise, Yorick, I'm trying to think of other junglers that have pets, but those are the only two I can think of. No, not Ivern, because he doesn't attack minions. Does any other jungler have pets? Someone help me here.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of it. Yeah, no, I can't think of any.
It's just Yorick and Elise. Either way, this is a buff to Yorick and Elise for jungling. Damn it, I can't actually think of any. Not Nidalee.
I don't think anybody else has pets.
Ivern, but you don't really use Daisy to clear.
Well, that's why I said Jake. He can't attack minions, so that's why you can't count him.
Right.
The only minion he attacks is the dragon or the Baron. Those are the only two he can attack.
Are you gendering my Daisy?
I'm gendering Ivern.
Oh, okay.
Because he is a male. Daisy, I feel like is female just because of the name, but like whatever. You could have a male named Daisy. I don't care.
That's a conversation for later.
I don't actually care. You can gender it however you want. To me, it's just a fucking rock. It's just a golem. Anyway, moving on. So like either way, this is an upgrade to Elise and
for sure.
York. This is an upgrade to their clear speed specifically. So speaking of,
do champions that have pets really need help with clear speed? Like especially Elise.
Their pets actually aren't as strong as you think, and Elise's damage is actually really, unless she's in spider form and Elise is heavily reliant on cooldowns.
I mean, in order for her to have her pets, doesn't she have to be in spider form?
She does, but like in general, unless she is in spider form, her clear isn't very good. In the first place, unless she has cooldown reduction, which she doesn't early on, and then B, if she's not in spider form, because usually you start not in spider form, the damage is super weak. So, I don't know, and I feel like Elise has needed some love for a while. The only person who fucking plays her is Yankos. Yankos has a hard on for Elise. So.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, so I like Elise a lot personally. She's like the only high skill jungler that I play. Most junglers that I play are like pretty much a lower mid level skill. Like I think the hardest jungler I play is Graves, because I play like Warwick, who's really easy. Play Xing Zhao, who's really easy. I play Udyr when Udyr's OP, really easy. Graves, like I said, is mid level. I don't like Nidalee. I hate Rek'Sai. I don't know. I just don't play any of the difficult junglers, but I like playing Elise, and she's actually pretty difficult to play. So this is cool for me personally. Speaking of Elise, Runic Echoes is getting buffed. The cost reduction is being decreased. Instead of being 2,625 gold, it's 2,500 gold, which means it'll take 2 less camps for me to get my jungle item, which is fucking awesome. So yeah, I should play some Elise. Oh, Nidalee. I don't like to play Nidalee. Nidalee is a tough champion. I don't care what anyone says. You can get one shot by a Nidalee all you want and say it's not skill. First of all, that skill shot is the most impossible thing to hit. Let me tell you something.
Not if you're playing against me.
Yeah, and, I don't play like Lee Sin either. Like that's another one I don't really play. Like Lee Sin's a lot of fun, and I love messing around with Lee Sin. Like if I'm playing a troll game with my friends, Lee Sin is my pick, because Lee Sin is actually a very, very fun champion. When it comes to ranked, I miss that Q way too often to play him in ranked. So it's another really hard skill shot to hit. So
again, not if you're playing against me.
Dude, I miss Maokai's and Dr. Mundo's. Let's not start. So Tanner, do you have any comment on like the overall item changes?
Yeah, I mean nothing on the specific changes to Runic Echoes, but I do like the fact that they're pushing it a little bit, because I think we have seen a pretty big decrease of AP users in the jungle, and so it'd be kind of nice to return them to form. I mean, obviously we saw like you said, Yankos played Elise a little bit, but I mean, it's not really a dominant force in the meta, so hopefully
it's a Yankos pick. It's not like a meta pick.
How much
it'd be nice to
cheaper
see.
is this item from the other jungle items?
If I believe the warrior one is 2,400. The tank,
That's cheaper than this.
yeah, the warrior one's cheaper. The attack speed one is 2,600. I don't.
Why the fuck was this one ever? Oh, never mind. I thought it was 3,000. Never mind. It was 2625 before.
Yeah, it was still the most expensive of the four. So
Gotcha. Well, then definitely necessary because, like Tanner said, AP junglers have been non-existent for a very long time.
Still kind of are. No matter how much love they give.
I mean, sure, they might still be, but like this is one way that they could potentially entice people to try them out again.
It's just really hard to give AP junglers love because if they're good, they're usually just OP because they have so much burst damage. Talia, that was the most high skilled jungler I played. Talia's hard as fuck, and I love Talia. She's so much fun in the jungle. So yeah, but like when Talia was good, she was broken. Like they had to nerf her jungle clear, but in turn in nerfing her jungle clear, they actually nerfed her wave clear in lane. That's why you don't see Talia anymore. And nerfing her jungle, they nerfed her out of the game.
Right. And Tanner, I kind of cut you off. Was there anything else that you were going to say about Runic Echoes?
No, that's about it. Just, I'd like to see AP return to the jungle, and I think this is a good step. So that's about it.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the one time Riot listens to the immense amount of whining and crying, and they did something about it. Everyone complains about Conquer, so now it no longer deals 10% true damage, deals 8%. Okay, that's whatever. I never had a problem with Conquer, but like if people have a problem with it, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little way to just say, "Hey, look, we're listening," without bending
to our will.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, they made some ARAM changes. If you want to look at that, go do it. I play a lot of ARAM, so I'll probably be looking at those. As usual, we have our bug fixes, and then we have our Battle Academia skins, the skin line that everyone has been hyping up. Personal or bitching about too, because they don't like that Ezreal and Lux got another skin. Like, when do they not?
Sorry, I don't get the whole hate train on Ezreal and Lux. Like, those are like those are two of their mascots for the game. Like, of course they're gonna give skins to those guys. I think
because like Misfortune, when Misfortune got Gun Goddess, everyone was like, "Why Misfortune? She already has 11. She has 12 skins." I think the same thing for Ezreal and Lux. Like, I think Lux had 9 or 10 before this, along with like Elementalist. Like, Lux gotten a lot of love.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that they could have done an anime skin line without doing Ezreal.
And Ezreal already has a legendary and an ultimate skin. So the fact that they gave him another legendary, people were like, "What the fuck?" And that. I get the complaints that you don't want like all these like really bomb ass ideas going to like the same 5 to 10 champions, but A, this is a free to play game. B, there's a way they got to make money, and how do you make money? You target the champions that are played the most.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I'm sure Ezreal and Lux sell like hotcakes. Like, I don't know the numbers on that, but I'm sure when they release skins for those champions, they sell, or else they wouldn't keep doing that. So. Like, if you guys don't want it to keep happening, don't buy them.
Stop buying the skins.
It's your fault. They're getting bought.
Stop playing those champions, right?
Right. And there's like 4 other really nice skins for other champions. Like Jace, Katarina, Graze, and Yuumi all get a really nice skin out of this too. So, I don't know.
Graze, actually, fun fact, now has like 9 or 10 as well.
True, but he hasn't gotten I don't think he's gotten a nice one for a while. Like the Praetor skins, I hate those, so that doesn't count. But I like this one a lot.
I have pool party Graves, and that's honestly all you fucking need in my opinion. The fact that I destroy my opponent with a water gun is amazing.
Yeah, that's a really good skin.
Shoot water, one shot, dead.
I will not be convinced otherwise that they would ever be able to do an anime skin without doing Ezreal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're so right. Like
that's
like he is the most anime character in this game.
Yeah, the Star Guardian one. So is Lux. Like, Star Guardian was with Lux.
I'm saying this as a complete anime noob. Like, I know nothing about anime, so I've seen the artwork a little bit, and so I can when I see the artwork, I can totally see Ezreal.
he fits the typical white schoolboy Japanese guy.
With like the kind of like spiky hair.
He has the Light Yugami look. If anyone you know who Light Yugami is. Do you know who I'm talking about, Tanner?
Yes, that was actually one of the only animes I did watch. So
from Death Note.
Yeah.
You mean the show that was really good up until halfway through, and then it got
it gets muddled. But
dude,
that's a conversation for another day.
Once L dies, that show's absolutely trash.
Jesus, dude! What if somebody hasn't watched it yet?
Hey, the thing has been out for how long now? It's not a spoiler.
Regardless, I'm editing that in post. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So just so y'all know, once the main proponent of Death Note dies, the show is garbage.
You know, you're just speaking in one solid sound right now, right? Like you're being completely bleeped out on the video. Anyway, all right. Yeah. Anyway, should we talk about MSI?
Yes.
I think we shall.
All right.
MSI. So, I just want to go.
Whoa, I lost you guys real hard. Can you guys hear me? Holy moly. Alright, I lost them real hard right there. Oh, crap.
He doesn't look immortal like he did at Worlds, but he's still God tier. He's just a mortal god. And honestly, I'm still going to take mortal god over anyone else. But the really sad part was even when Shy was 1-9 in a game, Invictus still stomped that game, which tells me they don't need their best player to win the game, which means no one has a chance in this tournament.
I'll save it for when we get, but I actually have I'm not predicting that IG wins.
I mean, so you probably pick SKT, I would bet. The second team that I have taking second place runner-up is SKT. I really like SKT in this. I think SKT looks vulnerable, though, and they're playing the one team who can beat them, which is G2, outside of IG, obviously. Honestly, I think SKT is very good. I think Faker is still God mode at this game. We did see that against Invictus. He destroyed Rookie. I think this proves Rookie's point that he needs to beat Faker for his international title to feel better. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
About the Faker Rookie thing?
I think it's nice that Rookie won a world title and whatnot, but I think he was correct in the fact that it feels better when you beat Faker. And now that Faker destroyed him in the game, it's he's probably right, isn't he? You still need to prove that you can be the best mid laner.
You remember that they played twice, right?
Yes.
And you remember that Rookie and IG beat SKT in sub 20 minutes, right?
I do. Yeah, 13 minutes or 14 minutes. So
I think it was 16 minutes, but still.
It was 16 minutes and 2 seconds, which was the official time, but the Nexus went down at 15:56.
Right.
Because the game still goes on for the 6 seconds that the Nexus 6.
So I just rounded up because I remember the 15:56 too. This is not a hot take or a popular opinion, I guess, but I don't think Faker really was that outstanding so far this tournament. I think that he was good. I don't think he was God.
He was consistent, though. He was kind of deadly consistent, and I think that was enough for them to push through. I think towards the end, he started to look better. I think as the tournament progressed, he started to look a little bit more in form. At first, he definitely didn't. I think that's fair.
I want to pose this question to you guys. Looking at the talent around Faker when he's been successful, if you put a player like Rookie, or if you put a player even, say, like Caps on those teams, would they be successful?
No.
Without any without any language barriers or anything.
I'm gonna say no, and here's why.
Okay.
Too often on some of those teams, Faker bailed those teams out. Like, for example, when the one that you told me that I need to always consider comebacks in, that game where SKT was 10K goal behind, that happened because of Faker's 5-man shockwave. If not for Faker's 5-man shockwave, they don't make a comeback in that game.
The thing is, though, that I can see in that situation, the way that play was set up, I could see Rookie or Caps making that play.
I don't see it. And then there's the Shockwave heard around the world, which was another Oriana play. That's what it's called. Was the Shockwave heard around the world because Faker went up. He went up with I think it was Bangi, the jungler. It was three of them had died. The bot lane had died and the top laner died. I forget who was there at the time, but it was just Bangi and it was just Bangi and Faker, right? And Bangi did something, but he got low and he had to walk away. And then Faker walked up fucking 1v. It was 1v4 because one of the people on the other team was still trying to finish off the Baron or keep it from not regenning. And while they were chasing Bangi to kill Bangi, Faker got a 4-man shockwave that killed 2 people, and then Bangi was able to turn around and kill the other 2. And they secured Baron off of that in an essential 2v4, but they killed this person as well, so it was 2v5. That doesn't happen without Faker's shockwave heard around the world. That was in a playoff game. There's just many times when Faker bailed out his team, and I don't think there's success.
I get what you're saying, and I'm not trying to take away the fact that Faker is a great player. He definitely is. There's a reason why he is the god of League of Legends. Listening to Dyphoria, they compared him. He is the Michael Jordan of League.
Pretty much.
Michael Jordan is the best basketball player to ever play. Faker is definitely one of the best to ever play the game. However, all of the things that you said right there are individual plays that even the other League of Legends and say that a significant play. The first one that came to mind was Caps playing Vayne against Misfits. I know that it's not the same thing, but that was in playoffs, and that was a game-winning play. If he doesn't do that, he dies. Misfits wins, and I believe that was a series-clinching game for Misfits.
It was. I mean, I can think the same thing. I can think of Doublelift versus Cloud9 when Doublelift and I forget who the sport. It was Biofrost. Remember the Lucian play that he pulled off?
So, I understand that Korea has been a dominant region for ever. So him doing this in Korea is better, right? But I don't know. He last year his team didn't even make it to international play. He was on that team. The team was shit. I'm not gonna say that it's on him, but the thing is that every time he's been successful, there have been amazing players that surround him in every position.
I think I'm gonna put this the same way I would. This is a terrible metaphor. Aaron Rodgers has made some really stupid ass plays and won so many games because he made a play that should have never happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like comparing Faker to how I just did with Doublelift right now, because I can point out any player who's made that plays, would be like saying, "Oh, Case Keenum did the same thing to the Saints." Oh yeah, he did. He did a miracle play that should have never happened. The difference is Case Keenum did it once, right? And Aaron Rodgers has done it a million times. I could probably think of 4 or 5 times when Caps has done it because Caps is an amazing player. I can think of maybe 2 or 3 when Doublelift has done it in the most high pressure situation. I can think of a million times when Faker's done it. The Zed play alone, I don't like to mention the Zed play because everyone knows the Zed play, but that's the number one that comes to everyone's mind, right? For me, it's the Shockwave heard around the world, which was near the Baron pit. The RNG one that I brought up first was just because I did a video segment on it one time. But like, I think the reason why you talk about Faker the way you do is because he's done it so many more times than everyone else, and that's why even though Aaron Rodgers, who only has one Super Bowl, right? Like he technically should have more. He only has one Super Bowl though. But the reason you still talk about Aaron Rodgers the way you do is because he's done it so many times. And same thing for Faker. He's done it so many times. So I agree with you. I do agree with you. I can talk about double lift. I can talk about caps. I can talk about all these other players that have done these things. But who's done it more often than anyone else?
I think that because he's done it so many times that he will live a part of his career on name recognition alone. And I think that people will give him more credit than he deserves in some of those situations. And honestly, right now, I kind of feel as one of those, because I don't think that he had that great of an MSI to this point.
I don't think this is his best international performance.
I don't think anybody's saying that, though.
I've heard so many people talking about, like, I listened to a bunch of podcasts today, including Dive For You, as I mentioned, and they were, like, just praising Faker about how he was, like, the second best player and stuff. And I'm just like, were we watching the same games? Because I didn't really feel that way. Like
you might
looking
also
at the
have
score lines, I feel like there was maybe like 1 or 2 games where he popped off. The rest of the games were fairly mediocre score lines, and the team did really well. Like Clid was amazing. Teddy has been amazing for that team throughout their season, LCK's season, as well as I think they played pretty well throughout the tournament. I just don't think that all of the success is on Faker.
I don't think all the success is on Faker for this specific team. I would actually point towards both the top lane and the bot lane specifically for the success this team has had. That's not a discredit to Faker. But another thing to consider is also the talent is way better now in the mid lane. There wasn't caps before. There wasn't perks before. I mean, perks isn't in the mid lane anymore. But there wasn't perks before. There wasn't rookie.
I think that the top lane is better talent in this tournament than.
But you see what I'm getting at, right? Like before, like who was there to talk about besides Faker? When I think about, I mean, maybe there was Pawn, but Faker shit on Pawn every time. Like Pawn.
That's kind of what I'm saying, though, is I think that because of his success early in his career, and kind of what you're saying right now is. He was able to do it because he was the most dedicated League of Legends player at the time. People have now caught up to him, but because he was so successful for so long early in his career, he will live on his name recognition alone. Not alone. That's not right. He is still very good, but he will live on, and people will watch him and think more highly of him, I think, than if he came around last year.
I mean, I think I could say the same thing about because I've been thinking this lately. I know I keep bringing it back to sports. I think I could think of the same thing about Tom Brady. Tom Brady, like when he was in his prime, he was airing the ball out more often, right? Like especially the 2007 season with Randy Moss, and he broke like the touchdown record, the yardage record. Randy Moss broke the touchdown record for wide receivers as well. He aired it out, right? And now Tom Brady is still great, and he still wins stuff, just like how Baker is great, and Baker still wins stuff. But like when you watch Tom Brady, you're like, this isn't the same guy who played 10 years ago, right? He's clearly not as good as he used to be, but he's still smart enough to outwit his opponent, right? And I feel like Baker's
I think that's a good comparison.
I think Faker's the same way. Like Faker's still good enough to outsmart his opponent, but the competition around him's gotten better, right? And cornerbacks in the NFL have gotten way better than they were 12 years ago. Like you can't have a defense without a cornerback now. If you don't have a cornerback, you're screwed, right? It used to not be that way.
Last thing I'll say on this, and then I think that we can probably move on, is what I'm saying about Faker is not necessarily a bad thing either. Because of his because of his name recognition alone, people plan differently against SKT, and they try to plan around Faker. and because of the talent elsewhere on that team, I think that it benefits SKT a lot. Knows how to really well because of what you were saying. He's very smart. He knows how to handle the pressure that's put on him by other teams. And yeah, because of that, sometimes his stat lines aren't great, but that's because 3 people are diving him mid and the rest of his team is getting towers and pushing advantages and potentially even getting kills on their own while like a support roams mid lane. Bot lane can get a 2v1 kill easily, So it's not necessarily a bad thing. What I'm saying about Faker is just that I don't think his tournament to this point has been necessarily as great as everybody's kind of giving him credit for.
Tanner, I want your 2 cents in on this. I'm going to say one last thing. I mentioned this in my video I made last year about Korea's dominance and their era of dominance. But the biggest thing to me, besides having like the it player, which is one of the factors I talked about, which was Faker. I also talked about Bang at the time. I also talked about having a jungler like Bengi. Bengi got hashed. I don't know why. He got hashed so often going into international tournaments because like his regional play wasn't that great, and then suddenly Bengi fucking roasted everyone around him. Like, you can shit talk Bengi all you want, but as long as he shows up internationally, the tournament that matters, who cares how he does it regionally? Like, who cares? But it's Coma. Coma is the one I attribute most to SKT's success, which is weird because I actually attribute the Patriots' success more to Tom Brady than I do Bill Belichick. So I picked the player over the coach in the football scenario, even though Bill Belichick is without a doubt like probably going to be named the greatest coach of all time. I think more success comes from Coma actually than like just Faker. Faker is the one who like made these awesome plays, but I think if you don't have a coach that recognizes, hey, I have like the greatest mid laner in the world, but I also need to make sure my bot lane and top lane is good because they're gonna focus all their energy on my mid laner. And even though my mid laner is world class, I still need winning bot lanes and winning top lanes, right? So you have to create a draft and you have to create a winning team comp for your top laner and bot lane to do okay. And you don't do that without a good coach. And you don't draft that without a good drafting coach. So, like, a lot of credit for me. It does go to Faker because Faker's the face of SKT. But for me, Coma has always been the guy that I attribute success to SKT.
Funny thing is, he's not the on-stage coach for them anymore.
No, he's not.
But, Tanner, do you have any...
Yeah, sure. Selceus, I think to address your question, is Faker really having negative a tournament? I don't think so up until this point. I think he hasn't needed to though.
Right.
When you look at
obviously.
the teams that he's had to play. I mean, IG can go fuck off and win 9 games. It doesn't matter to SK Telecom. SK's was always going to be in the knockout stage. So I think there's a lot of recency bias that comes into the fact that a lot of people were saying, oh, he's had a really good, not split, really good group stage. When you look at the statistics, and he's on like 5th or 4th in a lot of the important categories that a mid laner should be. Now that being said, I understand the name recognition issue. I guess for me personally, I don't think. For me, SKT was such a lock to get out of the group stage in general, that evaluating anybody's play on SKT and saying like they're not having that great tournament, I personally feel like it's irrelevant. I think
it's also super high expectations, right? Like they went 7-3.
I'm sure SKT didn't even care that much about knockout, because what are they gonna do? Like, are they actually gonna get 5th or 6th in a group with Flash Wolves, Fongvu Buffalo, and Team Liquid? Like, of course they're not. So, I personally don't have any concerns with them. I think it is a little overhyped to say that Baker was the best out of this whole group stage, or like really high up out of the group stage. And I think you're right. A lot more focus should be on the top lane.
I'm not gonna lie. If I'm gonna pick a Korean, I'm taking Impact's performance this MSI over Faker's.
Yeah, Impact's had a decent one. But yeah,
agreed.
I think just however to touch on the whole like greatest. I mean, like the whole comparison to Tom Brady and all these other guys. I mean, like Faker's been doing this for a long time. He's been doing it, I think, longer than pretty much anybody else at this point. He's been on the grind, and he's got the most world championships out of everyone.
He, Bjergsen, and Double Lift are the longest tenured professional players.
Right. So
and even Bjergsen wouldn't be up there because he was too young for a little while.
Right. So I would never jump off the Faker isn't the greatest of all time bandwagon. I think he absolutely is. I think you look at, like, again, titles matter when you talk about this shit, and he's got 3. Like, I unless I'm miscounting, I think he has 4 maybe. I can't even remember now. He's got more than everybody else. Like, I don't even have to remember because I know it's more than 2, and the next runner-up is Duke. I'm pretty sure. So, like, the dude slanks. He's good. So, I'm not worried about his like career or his legacy or all that shit. That shit can whatever. And this tournament too, I don't even think Faker cares. Like right now, like as I think when we get into groups, especially considering the last day performance that they had, I think that is irrelevant. I think there is fair to say that there's some recency bias there, but also, I mean, they stomped IG out, they stomped Liquid out. I expected them to, but they really did show a good performance in those games, and IG didn't look as good. So, I mean, I don't know. I think SKT is going to be fine, but I do agree that claiming that Faker's the top dog is... too.
I think that you can't challenge his legacy, and I'm not trying to do that with what I'm saying either. I think that he has proven to be one of the best, if not the best, League of Legends player in the history of League of Legends. And that's why he has so many titles. That's why they continue to build the SKT brand around him. That's why in LCK he's probably the highest paid player, unless it's on his own accord, because I know that at one point in time I think he took less money than he probably could have gotten really anywhere else to stay with SKT, because SKT was so devoted to him throughout his life.
Another
and not just his
comparison, taking less money.
Yeah, my thing is just kind of turn off the nameplates and don't get sucked in by the fact that it's Faker. Make you think that this team right now is 7-3 because of Faker.
No, I agree.
I don't think so. I think he's part of it steady and bottom, but that's just me.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So I think we're all kind of on the same page. I just wanted to pose that question because I was thinking about it. Like,
I think for the previous years, my answer is no. If you're asking about this year, I'd say
right.
I'd say yes. They may still have that same success.
My question about the replacing him with somebody else though still kind of stands even for the past, because in the past, yes, he was great, but I also think that there are other great mid laners that if you were to take them, implant them into those previous world champion teams, eliminate all language barriers and anything else like that, I think that they could also win championships with those teams because there was so much talent around Faker. They had super teams before super teams were a thing. And people didn't realize it because they played in Korea. And
the super teams were always on KT Rolster or Rocks Tigers, and they always failed.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really important point. Like, I think a lot of the top teams from Korea are never the ones that actually end up winning the tournament.
Yeah, it was
all the top teams on paper.
Yeah.
I wanted to address your question, Tanner. Faker's been to 4 titles championships. He's won 3 of them, and he has 2 MSI titles as well. So he has 5 world championships total.
Because they lost one to Galaxy, right? Samsung.
Yeah, they lost the one to Galaxy. And then there was the year in 2014 when Samsung White won and SKT didn't even go that year. That was the one time Faker had never been to Worlds before last year. Actually, the only time Faker's never been to Worlds is when it's hosted in Korea. Fun fact.
Yep.
The only time he's never been to the World Championship is when it's in Korea.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we can probably move on from the SKT and Faker conversation.
I think so too. I want to put G2 and Team Liquid together. And I want to do this for two reasons. One, I think Team Liquid performed to what we thought they would. 4 and 6 is about what I expected.
Just the only thing that you can say that was unexpected is Impact played amazing.
Oh yeah,
had a great group stage, and Jensen I thought looked like shit for the most part.
I mean, I thought Jensen would look like shit, but I also thought Impact would look like shit. I just thought they would win a few games through their bot lane. I mean, Double Lift had I think a good performance, especially in the Invictus gaming that they lost, the first one. I thought Double Lift had a great performance. He was a huge reason they came back, but so was Impact. I'm thoroughly impressed with how Impact is playing. But with Xmithy had a game here and there. Core JJ underwhelmed me actually. I think I was really only impressed by Double Lift and Team Liquid. Impact. Double Lift and Impact on Team Liquid. Xmithy did better than I thought he would, but didn't overly impress me. I didn't like performances from Jensen and Core JJ, and that's why 4 and 6 is fitting to me.
I think it's funny because Jensen, after they finally were, top 4, he told Double Lift, "I told you I would get you out of groups, but it was not. It was not because of him that they got out of groups."
I am massively underwhelmed by G2 here at MSI. Maybe I hyped them up too much, but
I'm still on the train.
Them going 0-2 to PvB and losing to Team Liquid is not what I want to see from a team that I expected to make finals.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie.
Nobody should like it, but we said this last week. G2 is the type of team that sometimes plays down to their competition. And I think that's what happened with Fongbu Buffalo. I think that Fongbu Buffalo also, I'm sure you're going to probably talk more about them because you really enjoyed them this tournament, but they have the play style that gives them a fighting chance in any best of one situation. And they showed it, especially game 1 against G2, when they had as many kills as there were minutes in the game. And I think they had 9 kills before G2 got their first one. So G2 lost that game real early and weren't gonna come back. In the second loss to them, that's the only one that might worry me a little bit, is because it looked like G2 was in that game and they still lost it. Every once in a while, though, you have a League of Legends game where shit goes bad real early and there's just nothing you can do to come back. And I think that's what happened in the first one, so I'm not worried about that. I guess Team Liquid doesn't really bother me either, because we kind of went in expecting those two teams to be fairly close to one another. I don't know. I also don't think that G2 has shown all of their hands yet.
Yeah, I think G2 might actually end up in that same camp that I was talking about with SKT, whereas they didn't feel any pressure to perform, because are they really gonna get 5th or 6th in this group? Of course not. So that's possible, but I agree with Sanders though. Especially considering how clean they looked day 1, and how clean their win against SKT was on day 1, and just how good they looked, and they weren't even doing anything cheesy. They were playing
they just straight up did a normal comp.
Right, they were playing the normal comp. They were playing the Korean style, and they smacked up SKT with it. So to see it kind of degrade a little bit over time was a little concerning. At Team Liquid, I think if they had gotten 5th or 6th, that would have been shocking. And if they had gotten third and up, that would have been shocking. 4th place, the boys. Always. Hold on, where is that?
Where is it? It's gonna happen.
Where is it? Number 4. Yeah, there it is. Okay. 4 on the back.
Nice.
Yeah, so of course they were gonna get fourth. But yeah, I would have been legitimately surprised if they got anything higher than that. This is, I don't know. I'm content with where they're at. As long as they're at a group, they're gonna get smashed by IG. But
more of my comments on Liquid will come when we get to the Team Liquid IG series, which we need to wrap our podcast up soon. We started late, but we still got to wrap it up soon. People got to go to bed. So here's how G2's record goes down. They go 0-2 to PVB, and they go 0-2 to Invictus Gaming, and then they split with Team Liquid, right? The 2-0 Flash Wolves, which you should 2-0 Flash Wolves. Thank you, Team Liquid, for not doing that. And then you should and then I believed it was possible for G2 to 2-0 SKT. When I looked at G2 SKT, I was like, this favors G2 simply because I like how they match up with SKT. I remember saying on the podcast last week that I thought G2 would take games off SKT, maybe even go 2-0 SKT, but they wouldn't have a chance against Invictus Gaming. And I remember saying the opposite for Liquid, that Liquid would have a chance against Invictus Gaming and have 0 chance against SKT. Well, Team Liquid got stomped by SKT, and despite the fact that Team Liquid went 0-2 against Invictus Gaming, I feel like Team Liquid actually gave Invictus Gaming the hardest games that Invictus Gaming played. There was a Flash Wolves game that looked like Flash was going to beat Invictus, but Invictus turned that around as well. But out of the 3 really tough games that Invictus Gaming had to play where they won, I feel like Team Liquid brought out the strongest performances, despite them losing. There is something to be said about SKT beating Invictus Gaming. That's another story, though, because Invictus Gaming actually lost that game. So the way the matchups are going out, I actually enjoyed it. I expected G2 to be able to beat SKT. It just doesn't bring any confidence in me that you lose to the wildcard team 0-2, and then you don't show up against Invictus Gaming. Because if the finals go the way they possibly could, you can get Invictus Gaming versus G2, and we've seen that series before. G2 had no chance at Worlds last year, and I feel like they'd have no chance this year.
G2's a different team this year.
Yeah, I still don't think they'd have a chance. Invictus Gaming matches up way too well.
It's probably not likely.
I think the same thing that I thought last year, and the same thing that I said last week. I think Invictus matches up really well against G2. And that's not G2's fault. That's just the way the two teams are. But like SKT, it's weird. So here's how I see it, right? I think SKT can beat Invictus Gaming. I think Invictus Gaming will beat G2. But I think G2 could beat SKT. It's a cycle of who's playing who.
It's the rock paper scissors.
Scenario. It's the rock paper scissors scenario, right? And G2 loses to Invictus Gaming to me, but they can beat SKT, who can beat Invictus Gaming. So I just don't think that matchup favors up for them. I kind of hope SKT wins this weekend simply because I'd rather see a series versus Invictus Gaming. I just don't think G2 can give it to them. If they do, I'll eat crow, and I would love to see that because I'm rooting for G2. I want to see some crazy drafts. I want to see G2 do well. I've been a fan of this G2 team since that Origin final. I want to see them do well, and I think I've just been underwhelmed because I haven't seen what I wanted from them.
So, should we go into picks right now?
Last comment. Our 2 teams that we won't talk about next week. Flash Wolves.
I don't really think there's a whole lot to say.
Flash Wolves were not great this tournament.
And didn't they just lose more of their players?
There's just not a lot to say about them. They weren't that great. They were kind of boring. And LMS is slowly becoming a wildcard region. And frankly, Vietnam is taking their place to be way more exciting. It used to be that LMS had Flash Wolves is the exciting team and maybe a number 2 seed. Honestly, I can't wait to see 2 Vietnam teams again. I hope we get 2 Vietnam teams in the fucking World's group stage. Not to play into the World's group stage. Why? Because they're so fucking entertaining. PVB went 2-8. the only people they beat was G2. But when they played Liquid, it was like, oh shit. When they played Invictus, it was like, oh shit. When they played SKT, well, SKT handled them pretty well. When they played Flash Wolves, it was like, oh shit. Like PvP, in my opinion, if you didn't watch any of these games, don't watch any of the games but PvP. PvP was the most entertaining fucking thing ever. Watch all 10 PvP games, and you've got the entertainment of MSI right there. If you want to see clean play, watch Invictus Gaming. But if you want to just watch League of Legends to be entertained, go watch Fong Fu Buffalo. They were fucking awesome.
Yep.
I can't
PvP. Sorry, PvP is just like, it seems like they're just the masters of controlled chaos. Like, even if they don't win, like, they're just that good at just making the game be an absolute clown fiesta and then just thriving in it. Like, I think they played significantly better than they did in the play-in stage. Like, they played a lot better than they did in the play-in stage. They didn't have the results to show for it, but go watch the games. It was...
I think the best part was watching 5 teleports happen in 3 minutes against Invictus Gaming when, like, Fong Fu Buffalo did a dive bot lane and got 4 kills to 1.
To be honest, that was Invictus Gaming. Because like Invictus Gaming, that's one thing I noticed is they are really good about TPing and
they left the team fight, yeah.
Getting people to areas of the map. Like Galio ult, TP. I don't know if they ever played Tom Kench, but if they did, I'm sure that they would have used that ultimate to get people to fights. Like, just they were so good at that. Like, you almost can't start a fight against them unless you have everybody willing to come to it, because IG does have everybody willing to come to it, and they will be there. I almost guarantee it.
Yeah. What was so great was they got 4 kills, right? But because the death timers were so short, Invictus Gaming came back and TP'd behind them as they were trying to take a tower, and then they killed 2 PvP people, and then PvP was like, oh, okay, let's fucking go. We're gonna TP in now after we die. And then they killed more Invictus Gaming, and Invictus was like, oh, we got one more TP. We're gonna TP into your jungle and kill your mid laner. It was...
And that was a great thing too, because like they panned to the cameras of like IG during that game too, and you could see like the Shy just cracking up sometimes too as well. Like they were having fun. Like for some reason, PvP win or lose just makes the games fun, not only for the people watching but for the people playing it too. So it's just
I think the thing is, probably I'm sure Fong Fu Buffalo took it a little more seriously, but for Invictus, I'm sure they were like, this is retarded, but we're doing it anyway. Like. I'm sure they were like, oh, they want to fight us. Let's fight them. And then Invictus Gaming was like, oh shit, we lost. Let's try again. Like, oh, we lost. Let's TP back in, see if we can do it round 2. And then Fong Fu Buffalo was like, oh, you want to TP on us? We'll TP on you. Oh no, watch the games. Fong Fu Buffalo was a blast. Like I said, not much to say about Flash Wolves. So let's go to the series. I want to give Invictus Gaming Team Liquid to Tanner first, because I've been talking a lot. So Tanner, how do you feel about your team that's going to lose this series?
Invictus Gaming will ram Team Liquid into the wall, and it's not even going to be close. It's going to be a 3-0 for IG. I just don't see anyone on Team Liquid making any amount of like... I mean, again, I'm happy with where they got, but this is not going to end well for them. Is there a third place match for this? No? Okay. Yeah. So their tournament ends tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, on Saturday. So yeah.
Friday. They play Friday.
Friday. Okay, good.
So I think that this little segment on this matchup can be summed up really well the way they did on Dysphoria. Does anybody think that Team Liquid is going to take a game off of IG? Tanner already said no. Sanders?
Actually, I do.
Okay.
This is what I'm going to say. I thought about this morning when I was driving to Phoenix. I think 95% of the world will say this is a 3-0. And I think that's extremely valid. And I think that's probably the way to go. If I was a betting man, I would put money on 3-0. My gut feeling tells me that I liked how Team Liquid looked versus Invictus. I liked that Invictus was ahead by 4,000 gold, and then Team Liquid came back and had a 3,000 gold lead after being 4,000 gold behind. Mm-hmm. I like that. And then Invictus Gaming did the Invictus Gaming thing that you talked about. They got Team Liquid in the mid lane. They had 2 wards in the back, and then they TP behind Team Liquid. And Invictus was like, "Surprise, motherfucker!" And Team Liquid and
Ace.
And then Team Liquid was like, "Fuck!" And you're right, it was an ace. They aced Team Liquid, and they took a tower and then Baron.
And it was late. It was late enough in the game. They won.
And the game was pretty much over from there. So they just took the Baron. They took it mid lane. The Shy went bot lane, and there was nothing Team Liquid could do about it. But regardless of the fact, I like the fact that Team Liquid could come back against supposedly the best team in the world ahead. I like that. That's great. That's good. They still lost, but there's some positives there to be said because most teams weren't able to do that this tournament, and Team Liquid did. I truly think they're going to take a game off. This is how I think it's going. It's going to be a 4-game series, I think, where 2 of the games Invictus Gaming is going to destroy Team Liquid. It's not even going to be close. There's going to be a 3rd game somewhere in there, I don't know where Team Liquid is going to look like they can win the game, and then Invictus is going to pull the Invictus and win the game, take it from their grasp. And then there's going to be that 4th game that's super tough for both teams, and Team Liquid pulls it out. The reason I believe this is I certainly think Team Liquid's bot lane can beat Invictus Gaming's bot lane. I think Jackie Love has had an incredible tournament, actually. People want to talk about the Shine Rookie. I think Jackie Love's had an incredible tournament. And Balin's been all right, but I think Jackie Love has been on another level. Despite that, I think Doublelift and Core JJ's had himself. Sorry, Doublelift himself has had a fine tournament.
He's actually almost last in all of the 80 carry, like
for the
in
stats,
a lot of them.
Yes.
In stats, yeah. So
for the stats, yes, but that's on paper. His general play, I have been fine with. Because like
in the Invictus Gaming games that you're talking about too, it was him. He was a big factor as to why
was the only reason Team Liquid was alive against Invictus Gaming. Yeah, I think that they can win at least one game in the bot lane, and Impact has surprised me. If Impact can keep surprising me, I think there's one game where he can beat the Shy in lane. And sure, the rookie will probably beat Jensen, but when you got a winning top lane and a winning bot lane, unless Ricky 1v9s that game, Team Liquid
I don't put it past him.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him either. I think Team Liquid at least wins that game. So I think there's going to be 2 games where Invictus Gaming actually smashes Team Liquid, and there's going to be 2 tough fought games where Team Liquid goes 1-1 of those 2 tough games. So I'm going to pick Invictus 3-1. I mean, I still pick Invictus to win, but I certainly think at least 2 of the 4 games I'm thinking there will at least be tougher than some people think.
I am in Tanner's camp and the 95%, where I think this will be 3-0.
That's totally reasonable.
Jensen has done nothing to impress me this tournament, at least against the other top talent. So I think he will continue to get shit on by Rookie. Impact has impressed me, but he's going up against arguably the current best player in the world in the Shy. Core JJ, as you mentioned, I agree with the fact that he's been underwhelming, especially for the close to unanimous MVP pick of NA. He's not the best player on his team right now in this tournament. And like you said, Jackie Love has had a really good tournament, and Doublelift has not. On screen, he's definitely done some things really well, but stats don't completely lie, and the fact that he's 5th place in most of those stats is telling to me that he's not going to be able to get the job done either. Would it surprise me if Team Liquid gets a game? I guess not. Just because of the fact that, I have said since I've been on this podcast, there's a reason why you play the game, and it is completely possible that something goes really right for Team Liquid or really wrong for IG or both one game. that's League of Legends. So, yeah, I guess it's possible. I just don't think it's likely. And because of that, I'm going to say that Invictus wins the series 3-0. The follow-up question, though, that I do have that they also asked on Dysphoria was, if Team Liquid does win a game, do you think that it's a successful MSI? Or do you already think that it's a successful MSI?
I think it already is.
Getting out of groups?
I don't think it is. I'm not satisfied just being in groups. You want to know why? Because I've seen Cloud9 go to semifinals, and I saw CLG go to finals. This isn't enough for me. This isn't enough.
If coming from the standpoint of a Liquid fan, I'm okay with it. Would I like to see a little bit more? Absolutely, of course I would. Am I content with them, getting out of groups and then crapping it out to the world champions? Yes, I'm okay with that. It would be
a cherry on top if they won a game.
Yeah, if they won a game, that'd be nice. If they don't, that's fine. I don't expect them to win this series. I mean, again, this is the world champion team, so I don't have an issue with them. The fact that they did make it out of groups and they broke Double Lift's curse and all that, I think that's more than enough of a nice storyline to take into next season. Good luck to IG in the final. That's all I got to say.
Sanders, do you think that it's a good enough tournament if they win a game off of IG?
I don't even think it's good enough if you win a game. Okay. Here's my problem.
You are the ultimate
Here's my problem. Besides the fact that I've seen CLG do better, and the fact that I've seen Cloud9 do better, we got in at 4 and 6. I think that speaks to how badly 5th and 6th seed are. I don't think that speaks to how much Liquid has improved internationally. I think that speaks to how badly 5th and 6th are. We got in for free. Cool. We beat one of the 3 teams. That's what we had to do. We knew going in, we just have to get one win.
But typically we don't get that one win, so
I understand.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
but it was also against G2. It was against a 5 and 5 team.
Still, typically that doesn't happen.
I understand that, but this is not impressive to me. You got in at a sub 500 win rate. You went in 4 and 6. You got in for free. If they give me what I said, I think will happen, which is 2 games where they get stomped because it's Invictus Gaming, but 2 games where they hard fight and one of them they lose and one of them they win. I can walk away from that series saying, I'm proud of what Team Liquid did. They were given a shit hand.
Okay, so if they win one game, then it sounds like you are. You think
No. They need to be competitive in one of their losses. If they just get shit stomped 3 of their losses, I won't be impressed. They need to be competitive.
So you're adding the extra on top of a win. They also need to be competitive in one of the games they lose.
Yes, if they're competitive and I watch them lose and say that was a good loss, or I can respect their effort there, I will be happy.
All right, well, this is a little bit of a... I'm glad I asked the question because I'm in the boat. If they win one game off of IG, I think that this is an amazing tournament. The fact that we made it out of groups, which we haven't really done, well, at least this team hasn't done, and NA hasn't done for a while now. We got our automatic qualifier back to Worlds. Then to have to play the defending world champions that only lost a game in groups and have been dominant for an entire season since they've won Worlds in their own region. If we can beat them one time, I'm gonna be like Kobe on Dysphoria. I'm gonna be ecstatic.
You'll be like when Kobe was casting CLG at MSI when they beat RNG the very first day.
The faithful, right? Is that the faithful?
Yeah,
game?
It's the faithful will be rewarded, and he was screaming into the mic that sticks they pulled off.
Yes, I remember listening to that because I was just all right, that might be a little much.
Oh no, he was screaming into them. It wasn't even casting anymore at that point. It was just
the thing is, though, I think it was genuine.
Oh yeah.
I do think that it was genuine. So, all right. Well, I think I don't have anything more to say about this series. Are we ready to go to the other one?
Sure.
Jamie, you get this one first.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start my bold picks by saying I think G2 is going to win this series because I think that even though G2, as I mentioned before, even though G2 lost some games that are very questionable, they should not have lost to the wildcard region, especially twice. I think that they don't have any competition to play down to with the 4 teams left because they're not going to play Team Liquid. But so there's that. They're now playing against a team that, like, if they come in and don't take seriously, they will get their shit kicked. And so because of that, I think that these guys are experienced enough and understand that well enough that they're not going to. On top of that, as I mentioned earlier, G2 hasn't shown all of their hands yet. And now is the time where I think you're going to start getting even more creative picks out of G2. And SKT is a good team, is a great team. They beat Invictus. They're the only team to do it. They had a hell of a split in LCK coming into this tournament. They're full of great players in their own right. However, they haven't seen the creative picks that G2 can put out there. We haven't seen a funnel comp. We haven't seen a potential mage in the bot lane. We haven't seen like some of the other crazy things that they have shown. And then on top of that, apparently Caps has also been playing bot lane with Promise Q a lot in duo queuing with Promise Q. So it's completely possible that we also see another swap in roles.
Hell yeah.
And just the fact that they have this in their arsenal and that they have the ability to literally swap picks between 3 lanes. Like, if they pick Pyke, who the fuck's playing Pyke?
Wonder? It's a really good
Caps,
question.
Mickey X?
That's a really
potentially
good
Perks.
Potentially Perks, yes. That's a really good question.
Can Yankos play it in the jungle? We don't know. What I'm saying though is that I have faith in this team. They have already beaten SKT twice. That's who they're playing in this round. So I think that it's not unreasonable to think that they could do it again. Best of 5s are a different beast, though, and SKT is really good at them, so I'm not going to count them out easily. So if the series goes the way that I think, though, I don't think that it goes 5. Because if it goes 5, I think SKT has the upper hand. So I'm going to say that G2 wins this 3-1. And it's just strictly based off of the fact that they play the game fast, which matches up well against SKT. And then the fact that they also have just so many things in their arsenal that I think it's really hard for any team to be prepared for, especially teams from other regions that haven't gotten to play against it. I think that they can win this series, and I'm going to predict that they will.
For me, this series as a whole gives me pretty heavy Misfit vibes, like Misfit versus SKT from Worlds, except for the fact that we're all confident, or we have some level of confidence in G2 going into this series, whereas in that tournament, nobody thought Misfits was going to do anything. Misfits pulled out some wacky shit, took 2 games off, and then got reverse swept. I predict the exact same thing for this series. I think G2 will not cheese, but just pull some wacky stuff, make some really good picks, make some really interesting stuff happen on the Rift and win the first 2 games from SKT. And then I think SKT catches on to it. And because they're just that good in best of 5 series, I I have a hard time picking against SKT ever in best of fives. I've been proven wrong by that before, and the only one to do that was SSG. So I want to be wrong, but it's hard for me to look at SKT and ever say that, they're not going to win a best of five series. So, and I also think Faker steps up huge in this series. I think this is a great time to prove a lot of things for SKT. Are they as dominant as people think they are? Is Faker as good as we think he is? Are all of these different questions need to be answered in this game? And after this game, I think it'll be a lot easier to predict SKT's future matches. But yeah, that's kind of that's my gut feeling is like, yes, nobody's prepared for what G2 has to throw at them, but at the same time, people know that G2 have a knack for doing this kind of stuff. And maybe just the knowledge of that is good enough, whereas like when they were playing against Misfits and the MF comes out and nobody knows what to do, like that legitimately took them by surprise. Whereas like, oh hey, G2's doing something silly again. Those guys, it's just like that's kind of what it feels like with G2. So
those guys.
Yeah, those wacky boys. Yeah, that's just my kind of feeling. Sanders, you look like having an aneurysm over there. What's your take on this series?
Okay, I don't like the way this is going at all, guys. I've got a problem with both of your predictions.
That's why it's not your prediction. So tell us yours.
I've got a massive problem with both of your predictions because I have the same one as both of you, and I feel like we're wrong. I'm picking.
Well, you can't have the same one as both of us because he picked SKT and I picked G2.
3-2 SKT, by the way, if I didn't make that clear.
Wait, weren't you just hyping up G2?
No.
I mean, he was saying that they.
No, yeah, like they're great. Don't get me wrong. Like G2 is cool, but like overall, I still think SKT is going to handle that. Like my prediction for this series is G2 wins game 1 and 2, and then SKT reverse sweeps them.
I must have had I must have missed that last part because I heard the G2 wins game 1-2 part, and then I started thinking on my own. I just probably assumed what you were gonna say.
No, I've got SKT winning this series.
No, I have G2 winning this series. Okay, that's good. We disagree. One of us disagrees with someone. That means.
Damn it, Tanner's gonna be right. This has happened before.
Okay, I mean, yeah, it's happened before. I actually am picking G2 here. I am concerned about G2. I'm going 5-5. I am concerned about them going 0-2 to Invictus into Fongvu and not actually looking that competitive against Victus. Unfortunately, I'm picking for us to have the boring final. I truly think Invictus versus G2, which is what I think the final will be, is going to suck. I think we're going to get 2 killer series for the semifinals on Friday and Saturday, and I think Sunday is going to be awful. I'm not looking forward to watching Sunday's games.
If it's G2 versus IG.
Yeah, if it's G2 versus IG. If it's IG versus SKT, I think it's a way better final. But I think G2 just matches up really well with SKT. This is the whole rock, paper, scissors thing I was talking about. I think Team Liquid matches up well with Invictus too. Invictus is just a better team, and that's why Invictus is going to win. In this case, I think SKT and G2 are like neck and neck, and G2 gets the advantage in A, their drafting, like Selceus was talking about. But B, Caps has taken it to Faker before. He can do it again. Wonder has really, really surprised me. He's done way better than I thought he would. He can take it to Klid in the top lane, and frankly, Teddy and Mata are.
You mean Khan?
Yes, Khan. My bad. Klid's the jungler. And Teddy and Mata are a massive threat in the bot lane. I think that's the one time, and I don't know when I'm not going to stop shitting on G2's bot lane. One day I'll get confidence in them, I guess. But even then, Perks hasn't had a bad tournament. He's been better than I thought he would be. So,
in fact, I believe in the first game of this of all of MSI, but also the first game where they played SKT, Perks got first blood on Teddy or Mata, one of the two.
Yep, that happened. They got first blood on him. So my concerns are in the jungle for G2. I actually think Klid is better than Jankos. Jankos, just for whatever reason, has been a jungler that dominates his region but never shows up internationally.
I think he's had a really good showing so far, other than his Karthus games.
I think he's been okay. I want to see more actually from him. I think Klid will beat Yankas. I think what this series really comes down to is who gives the early lane advantages. I think whichever team has the early lane advantages is the team that wins those games. Because both of these teams have the ability to take control of the game and then run away with it, right? G2 has that ability, SKT has that ability. Now, on the other hand, if one team's behind, the other has the chance to come back. Both these teams have comeback ability. I will honestly give it to G2 to have better comeback ability because of Wondering Caps over Faker and Khan. That's not because I don't think Faker can do it. It's because I don't trust Khan to do it. Because I know Wondering Caps can do it. I'm not sure about Khan. Faker can definitely do it. So, but that leaves one less player in the comeback ability, right? I'm giving 2 to G2 to make the comeback and only 1 to SKT. Maybe I'm severely underselling Teddy and Mata's ability to destroy Perks and Mickey X or Promise You. That's quite possible. I might be underselling Teddy and Mata a little bit here, despite the fact I think they are a huge threat. But in the end, I think G2 is going to out game plan SKT. That's the big one here. They're two teams that can pretty much go punch for punch, strategy for strategy. When it comes to basic classic League of Legends style. But we're in a new era of League of Legends where SKT and Team Liquid are playing the same type of game that's been winning for the last 5 years of League. Invictus showed us last year, this is what China's been doing for a while, and we perfected it, and this is how it works. That came with the RNG MSI win. That came with the Rift Rivals win. Versus when it was China, Korea, LMS, and LJL, I believe, is the 4 regions involved in that. And it came out Worlds when Invictus Gaming was like, masterful team fighting is the way to go right now. Games always change. Even if a game stands still without patches, games always change. Melee is a no better example of that. And G2 caught on board with that. They said, okay, Invictus likes team fighting. We like crazy drafting because we have 2 multi-purpose players with caps and perks. And that's the way we're going to win. Team Liquid and SKT, I think, are just behind the 8 ball slightly because they're playing a way that's been proven, but a way that's still looks like it's becoming old school. Now, not saying you can't win old school, but I'm taking the new school here because it's usually the new school in video games that dominates over old school. So G2-3-2. That being said, my finals are Invictus Gaming versus G2. I don't think G2 has a chance against Invictus because of the matchup. So I'm taking Invictus 3-0. I don't care about their strategies. I don't care about the strat. Throw the strategy thing out the window because it's the Shy. Like the Shy is gonna kick Wonder's ass, and even if the Shy doesn't do well, we literally saw a game where the Shy went 1-9, and it didn't feel like Invictus was losing ever. It felt like Invictus Gaming stomped that game still. So it's just like, yeah, sure, our best player can be 1-9, but our other 4 players are
Granted,
so
he was 1-9, but everywhere else was winning. If
he
goes 1-9 though against anybody where the rest of the map isn't losing as hard as they were, then it's a different game. Like,
to me, if the Shy is 1-9, it's because you're spending a lot of resources top lane, which means Rookie or Jackie Love or Balon have free roaming over their own territory. I
more
don't.
than likely, you're right. It's just I'm saying that in the case where that's not true, it's a different game. Like, they aren't going to win every game the Shy gets behind 1-9.
Yeah.
Granted, there aren't going to be many games where the Shy gets behind 1-9.
Yeah. So it's just incredible to me that probably the best player in the world at the moment can go 1-9, and the team doesn't sit there and freaks out, right? Like, this is kind of my point. I think in 2013 or 2015, if Faker was 1-9, I think SKT freaks out. Invictus Gaming, the Shy's 1-9, who cares? We're fine. That's their attitude. And even the Shy, he said, it was in an interview, he said, our other 4 players are so good, he's like, I don't even think they need me to win.
It wasn't the Shy. That was their. That was Ning.
Was it Ning? Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. I knew it was one of them that was like, we're so.
Yeah, he said you could replace me with a dog, and we would still win.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, you're right. That's what he said. So, this team just has confidence in it. It shows in their play. And they're not cocky either. They play calculated. So, and
I don't know. I think they're a little cocky.
I mean,
I think they might be a little cocky, but I think it's
in
warranted.
their play, definitely. Like they were diving the tower against Team Liquid in that one. I think their first win against them.
I mean, in all fairness, their win against Fnatic in the Worlds was the cockiest thing I've ever seen, and it was funny as hell. Like they just went in on everything and they won because they were just that good. So it's just like, yeah, they're cocky, but you know, I mean, what do you
back it
stop them? Like I don't know.
Yeah, they back it. They back it up.
Yeah.
So, I don't think there's a world where we see Team Liquid versus SKT or G2, so I'm not going to consider those finals. My finals Invictus Gaming versus G2, if that's really how it is, I'm picking a 3-0. If it's Invictus Gaming versus SKT, I'll actually pick a 3-1 Invictus Gaming. Okay. Either way, I got Invictus Gaming winning this. What do you? We were at Jamie first the first time. What do you got, Tanner?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo exactly what you just said. I think if it is, I personally, for me, this is SKT versus IG. I think IG wins this whole tournament regardless of who they're facing in the final. I think that this is going to be a really nice story for Rookie because I do think that SKT is going to be the one that wins. So this will be his chance to kind of, you know, stop the talks of Rookie versus Faker, who's actually better right now. I think it could still be Rookie, and the Shy could probably just help nudge him a little bit forward in that conversation just by, you know, slamming Khan. Although I think Khan's been doing all right. So I think pound for pound, you know, IG's just the better team overall. They beat him enough during the play-in. I mean, they went 1-1, but again, it's hard to pick against SKT, which is why I think I'm going to go 3-2 IG. It's going to be close, but I think IG still wins the tournament. If it's G2, yeah, I'm 3-0. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think G2 has a chance against IG.
And this isn't me shitting on G2. It's just
for sure.
It's just a matchup. It's literally just
the matchup isn't good for them. That's for sure.
All right. Well, I said earlier I'm going bold, and I'm going to continue my bold picks. I said G2 is going to be in finals, and I picked them to win finals against IG. So,
all right.
It would have been better if you said against Team Liquid.
Yeah, no, I'm not that bold.
Boys, TL versus SKT, and it's fucking 15 emotions.
Remember, I think that IG is going to 3-0 Team Liquid, so I definitely am not going that bold. So I will concede, obviously, that IG is the heavy favorites to win against G2 especially. And, like, don't get me twisted, it will not surprise me in the slightest if IG wins in a, like, easy fashion. If it is a 3-0, it would not surprise me.
You mean like if it's a pop stomp? Would that surprise you?
It would not surprise me if G2 is playing against IG and they win in any fashion that they effing want. Because IG is really that good.
Why G2?
The reason why I'm picking G2 is because I felt in the second game that they played IG that it was actually a fairly close game. And again, I'm going to go to the fact that they haven't shown all of their hands. I think that is the reason why I will, until they prove... Well, okay, so if they don't go into their bag of tricks, I don't think that they have as much of a chance. Because they've shown that they don't match up well straight up against IG. They haven't beat them for the last 5 games that they've played, 3 at Worlds and 2 now in the group stage. However, they didn't have caps, And I think that if they do something creative, like a funnel comp, or I still think that they need to take advantage of the fact that Perks plays mid laners in the bot lane. It's been a while since we've seen him do that, and I would really like to see him do that in these playoffs, I guess is what I'm going to call them.
Remember, he didn't even actually play a mid laner bot lane one time. It was actually Yankos that played the mid laner. He played Morgana, and then like Caps just played the.
That was the
support.
funnel. I'm talking about like an actual. I'm talking about like everything is fairly standard except for they have a mage bot lane instead of an AD carry.
Okay.
I think if they do that, which I'm really hoping this G2 team is the team that will do something like that. Like they do not seem like the type of team that's going to go in and understand that if they play standard, they're going to get their asses kicked. And I think that would be the case. So because of that, and because they've kind of built their reputation with this current iteration of their roster on the fact that they can be creative and they can be like they can share the picks. I don't know why that word's escaping me, but why they can
flex.
Thank you. Flex stuff around to different players. I think that if they do that in these next two series, they can win. Now, I still think it'll be a very close series. I think it will go to 5 games if G2 is able to win it. I do not think that there is a world where they 3-0 IG, like I think that there is a world where IG 3-2 or 3-0s G2. I think that it would need to be a 5-game series because IG is really, really, really good, and there's just no way that I think that the series that they wouldn't win a couple of games in a series really against anybody. So there's my bold pick. I think that it's still strictly on the back of the creativeness of this team and the fact that they can flex stuff around and that they haven't shown some of the strategies that they have proven they can pull out. If it is an IG SKT series, then I think that IG will probably win as well. Their win against SKT, the 16-minute game, was too convincing for me to think otherwise. But so I guess I'm actually in a different boat from Sanders. I think either way we're going to get a 5-game series. So I think that it is possible that SKT has shown that they can take a game off of IG as well. So I think that it's possible that they take 2 games. I just think that overall IG's play style, again, just like the reason why I picked G2 in that series, I think that G2 and IG's play styles are more similar than not. And because of that, I think that kind of a higher skilled team or individuals playing that aggressive play style really plays well into SKT. So I think that an SKT IG finals would be a 3-2 to IG. So
I missed 30 seconds of those reasonings because my sister came in, but overall, I couldn't buy what you say.
You didn't miss much. I just said that I think that IG's playstyle goes really well into SKT if they play. Essentially.
All right, sounds good. So we all got our predictions. So we're all picking IG except for you, Selceus, when they're playing against G2.
Correct.
Alrighty then. That's so weird because it's the one team I wouldn't consider.
And I think that's completely fair. Again, I'm going bold. I know that it's not a likely outcome, but I do think that there are bullet points that I can put behind their reasoning of them winning a series, even if they are a bit of a long shot, and I really would love to see that happen. So I just want to go out on a limb for this series and say that I think that, and be bold with my pick. So
I'm gonna go out on a limb too and say Cloud9 wins Worlds. And we'll get to that. We still got to get through Summer Split first. There's some exciting announcements about Summer Split too.
Oh yeah, we'll get to those.
We'll get to those.
Check out the Discord if you wanna see them ahead of time.
We'll probably get to those in 2 weeks. We might no. We'll get to them in 3 weeks because we'll do next week and then we'll take the following week off. If Summer Split is how I imagine. Fucking Riot doesn't give us this shit till 3 days before, and I don't know why. Anyway, that's it from us. That's what you got for us for MSI. Like I said, if you didn't see any of the group shades, go watch Bong Blue Buffalo. They're so fun. They're so fun, and I can't wait till they go back to Worlds. I'm confident they'll be back at Worlds. So they were at Worlds last year, and they should be at Worlds this year.
If they're not, that means that there's another team that's just as exciting.
First it was Gigabyte Marines, and then it was Fong Fu Buffalo, and if someone beats Fong Fu Buffalo, there's got to be So, maybe we'll see Fong Fu Buffalo and Gigabyte Marines together. That'd be fun. So Tanner, do you got anything? I think Celceus and I are wrapped up.
No, I'm good.
Cool. I call him Celceus, not Celceus. So that's it from us for tonight. You can find us on YouTube. Just type in 6 Dorans. We actually pop up. Go to our Discord. Our links are on there. Twitch stream broke down today. We'll find out what's going on later.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah. My Twitter is JC Sanders at JC Sanders TBS. Is there any other plugs we need? Oh yeah, we are permanently moving to YouTube. Please remember that. Starting in June. We're done. So please remember that. And we gotta start promoting ourselves on Reddit. We'll be doing that soon. So from Jamie Selceus Christensen, or I should say Jamie has a cool Scooby shirt. Christensen.
It was a Father's Day present from my son.
And Tanner, Reppin' Team Liquid, Brelje. I am Jacob, looks like a dad, Sanders. And we will see you all on the Rift.